Everybody talks about what the sync will do and all the neat features, but no one has gotten underneath it. So let's look. One thing I thought was interesting was that rub mark right there. My assumption is on the factory line they are using that as the pad, but I would assume that their pad is worn out because it's like that on both sides. Yeah. Lots of orange cables everywhere, which means don't touch it. Neat thing about this is independent rear suspension. These rear coil shock assemblies look pretty easy to be able to remove if you wanted to do something with it, you know, like lower it or raise it. I haven't seen anybody do anything in the rear for rear suspension leveling or lifting, but I have seen some people put them up in the front to level it. Your typical electric parking brake. It doesn't seem like there's a ton of wheel travel, but I don't know necessarily if it needs it that much based off of the ratio of where the shock is to that. It could actually translate into some good ratio, some good travel ratios. Big beefy suspension points. I don't necessarily see, I mean, other than that guy for alignment, I think you're kind of stuck with whatever you can get out of that for tow, and that's about it. Can't really do any type of camber adjustment if you go extreme with the suspension. But looking at that, I don't know, it reminds me of BMW's early swing arms on Z3s and E30s. About the same geometry, honestly, too. Level sensors are going to have to be adjusted in case you do mess with the suspension in order for it to accurately be able to determine what type of load is in the back. Lots of skid plating, that's for sure. Lots of skid plating. Everything has got a big old steel plate underneath. One thing that I think Tesla should have done, but it probably would make it heavier and obviously would weight is the enemy with these things. Some neat stuff going on in there. I have to pull some panels down to actually see what's going on. The truck's got 40 miles on it at the moment. What's surprising to me is they're using steel front control arms instead of aluminum. I mean, bulk versus weight, I don't know. Also cost. The steering stops are kind of funny looking. They remind me of like antennas or something. Front suspension, pretty similar to the F150. I had a Raptor last, which had much bigger control arms and whatnot, but it'll probably suit the needs. Anti-sway bars don't look to be incredibly gargantuan or anything, and they're not active where they would use hydraulics to force one side down or up to keep the truck level. They're just your standard sway bars. I have heard a couple clunks and other nonsense going on in the front end, especially when traversing from reverse to drive, but it could be the frunk. I have junk in my frunk. We'll see. Electric fan for the 1234YF. That thing will get going once the AC's on full blast. Boy, it hums. But really, that's the only thing you can hear from the truck. Driving, it's pretty neat. It's got some interesting stuff going on with it. I'm still trying to learn it, feel it out. But yeah, I don't think anybody's really gotten underneath it. Take a look. So we may pull some panels down. We may do some investigating and see what else we can find.